Hello guys, I hope you all are doing good. I am Vaishali Kikaner and we are discussing chemistry. Today in this video we are going to start the chapter 2, the chemical bonding and structure. We are going to discuss a lot of concepts. So let's start our discussion with the first concept, that is the ionic compound. What are the ionic compounds? Ionic compounds are formed when a metallic element is combining with a non-metallic element, right? Now we know where in the periodic table we have a metallic element and where in the periodic table we have a non-metallic element. Both of them are combining to form the ionic compound. Whereas if I talk about the molecular compound, in the molecular compound we have two or more non-metallic elements combined. Right, so we will not be having any metallic elements over here. We have all of the non-metallic elements which are combining in the molecular compound. Coming to the properties of the ionic compound. First of all, ionic compounds are hard and brittle. Then second, it is having the relatively high melting point as well as high boiling point. If I talk about the melting point of sodium chloride, it melts at 801 degrees Celsius. It's a very high temperature. It conducts electricity as molten liquid but not as a solid. So whenever they are in the solid state, they are the non-conductor of electricity, whereas if I melt it and if they are in the molten state, they are the good conductor of electricity. Plus when they are mixed with water, so they conduct electricity when dissolved in water. So either in the molten state or when they are dissolved in water, they conduct the electricity. Now coming to the electrolyte. Electrolyte is a substance forming a solution that conducts electricity. So we are having a substance over here, ionic substance over here can form a solution with water which conducts electricity. So this solution is termed as a electrolyte. Coming to the formation of ionic compound, how the ionic compounds are formed. So here we have a neutral atom. Neutral atom can make a positive or a negatively charged ion. We already have talked about the positive and the negatively charged ions in the last class, right? So here I know I have a positive or a negative charged ion which can be formed from the neutral atom. So metal, when I have a metal has a tendency to lose electron. It can lose electron and it can form a cation. For example, we have a sodium metal. Sodium will be having one electron in the valence shell and it can lose this electron to form the sodium plus ion, which is the cation over here, and plus one electron is released over here. Coming to the non-metals. Non-metals can gain electron very easily. They have the tendency to gain the electron and to form an anion. Like we have the chlorine. So chlorine is a non-metal which is having 7 electrons in the valence shell. It can acquire an electron and it can form a chlorine negative ion, right, which is an anion. Now ionic bond. What is an ionic bond over here? So ionic bond is a bond formed when a non-metal atom removes electron from the metal atom. So here what will happen? It has tendency to lose electron, it has tendency to gain electron. So Cl can gain the electron from the sodium and here we are forming a bond in this process. So sodium, here we have this extra electron, it can go and it can make this octet of chlorine complete. And here this extra electron of sodium is removed, so here also the octet will be complete, though no extra electron will be present at sodium, and in the chlorine the octet is complete. So here it is forming a bond which is called as the ionic bond. So ionic bond is combined with the help of the electrostatic force. This is a very good bond, right? So here we will be having the electrostatic force between sodium ion and the chloride ion, right? So coming to the question, in the question it is asked to draw the Lewis symbol to show the formation of bond within sodium oxide and also write the chemical formula for the compound produced, right? So we have to form the sodium oxide, right? We know what are the valence electrons in the sodium and how we have the valence electrons in the oxygen. So we have to combine both of them and we have to find out the chemical formula for the compound. So we have various steps. Step 1 is to form the Lewis symbol for each atom, right? So whenever you have to find out the Lewis symbol of the product, right? So then first of all you are starting with the Lewis symbol of each of the constituent atoms. So sodium will be having a Lewis symbol like this, sodium with 1 dot. 1 dot represent 1 electron in the valence shell. Oxygen, we all know it has 6 electrons in the valence shell, so it will be represented with the 6 dots. So this is the Lewis symbol for sodium and for oxygen. The step 2 is to decide the number of atoms for combination to produce the neutral ionic compound, right? So we need to find out how many sodium or how many oxygen atoms can combine to form a neutral compound. Here we can see if I want to complete the octet of the oxygen, I require 2 atoms and 2 electrons. So these 2 electrons can come from the 2 sodium atoms. So here I can say 2 sodium atoms are required for each of the oxygen atom. Now moving to the step 3. So for the iron, now for the iron I am making a Lewis structure, right? And we are putting the charges over here as subscripts. So sodium will be having the Lewis structure like Na only, because now we are not having any electron in the valence shell. So it is not represented with the help of any dot, but we have a positive charge over it which is represented as a subscript. Oxygen will be having the 8 valence electrons because we have taken 2 sodium atoms. So oxygen with the 8 dots and 2 negative charge, right? Because it has taken 2 electrons and due to which it has the charge of 2 negative. This sodium also has donated an electron. So this sodium also have 1 positive charge. Coming to the step 4. In the step 4 we are making the chemical formula which is the Na2O, right? So in this manner, because we have 2 sodium atom combining with 1 oxygen and we are writing metal, after that we are writing the non-metals and the number of metal or the number of non-metals combined. So 2 sodium atom is represented by Na2 and 1 oxygen is represented by O only. Coming to the structure of ionic compounds. Now in the structure we are going to understand the structure with the help of the sodium chloride structure. The sodium chloride will be having the sodium and the chloride ions. So these sodium and chloride ions are now arranged in the crystal structure. We are not having only 1 sodium and 1 chloride ion. We are having numerous sodium ions and numerous chloride ions. So they are forming the crystal lattice structure which can have the different shapes. So to understand this, we can understand that if I have the oranges and apples, we can put the oranges and apples in a cubic box, right? Because their sizes are similar, their structure is similar. But if I want to put the grape with orange, let's suppose, so orange is of a very big size and the grape is of a smaller size, so we cannot put them in a cubic structure. It cannot easily fit in a cubic structure. So sodium chloride will be having the cubic kind of structure because both of the atoms are similar in structure. But overall I can say we can have the different shapes and different structures for the different types of the ionic compound. Coming to the formula unit. What is the formula unit? It is the smallest repeating unit in the ionic crystal structure. The smallest unit which will repeat throughout the structure is the formula unit. Now coming to the ionic compound. Ionic compound will be having, as I already told you, huge positive and the negative ions in a fixed ratio. The ratio will be fixed. If I will be having a lot of sodium ions, I will be having a lot of chloride ions. But their ratio will be fixed. Their ratio would be 1:1 for sodium chloride, right? So their ratio is fixed. Now coming to the properties of the ionic compound. This is the explanation of the properties. We have seen some of the properties of the ionic compound. Now with the help of the knowledge that we have gained so far, we are going to explain these properties. So now, first property is the high melting point. High melting point can be understood with the electrostatic force or the ionic bond that is used to hold the ions, right? So sodium and chloride ions are connected with the help of the electrostatic force or I can say with the help of the ionic bonds. So in this manner I can say, because they have a very strong force connecting the two atoms, they will be having high melting point. They will be having a hard structure. Why they are having the hard structure? Because the bonds of the ionic compound will resist being stretched. So the bonds will not tolerate this much of the stretching. They are intolerable to the stretching. So they cannot tolerate a lot of stretching and they are resistant to the stretching. So thus I can say they are hard. Now coming to the next kind of property. So next property is that the ionic compound are easily cracked or fractured. We can have the ionic compound and all of them have the similar property that they can be easily cracked or they can be easily fractured. Why? Because the outside force will offset the crystal lattice structure. Right, when I am putting the outside force, there would be an offset crystal lattice structure, and the positive charge ions are side by side with the other positive charged ions. So we will be having the different positive charge ions which are placed side by side, and because I know the like charges repel each other, so these positive charges which are arranged side by side, they are going to repel each other. There will be a repulsive force and thus the crystal breaks. Right, so I can say the ionic compounds are easily cracked or fractured. The next property is that they will be having the conduction of the electricity when they are in water. The solution of the ionic crystal in the water will be acting as an electrolyte. So now how it is happening? Water will surround each ion and separate it from the crystal. So if I have sodium ion, so sodium ion is surrounded by the water, right? So water is going to surround the sodium ion and thus it is separated from the crystal, right? So I can say it is breaking up or it is dissolving the ions in the solution and thus it is releasing the ions as a free floating ion in the solution. So thus ion moves and they carry the charges. Right, so here you can see if I have sodium surrounded by the various water molecules, it is away from the chloride which is also surrounded by the water molecules. Now they can float very easily and they can carry the charges. Right, now coming to the molecular elements and the compounds. Now we have understood the ionic compounds in detail. Coming to the molecular elements, as I have already told you, molecular elements are the pure substances composed of molecules which are made up of two or more atoms of the same element, right? So molecule will be having two atoms of the same element like O2 molecule or more than two atoms of the same element like ozone, which is O3. So here we have three atoms of the oxygen in one molecule. Coming to the diatomic. Diatomic is made up of two atoms only like O2. Right, coming to the molecular compound. Molecular compound we already had discussed. They are the pure substances which are composed of the molecules which are made up of two or more than two non-metallic elements, right? So here we will be having the non-metallic elements. Only with the help of the combination of non-metallic elements we can form the molecular compound. We are not having any of the metallic elements in the molecular compounds. Coming to the properties of the molecular compounds now. So they can be gas, they can be liquid, or they can be solid at the room temperature or the ambient temperature. They can have a variety of textures. Like if I talk about the paraffin wax is soft, it is waxy. Whereas if I talk about the sugar we all know it's hard. Paraffin wax is flexible and malleable. Whereas if I talk about sugar, it is brittle, it cannot be malleable, right? It is not flexible. So the molecular substances are having the low boiling point. We have seen that they have the different types of textures and thus now they are having a low boiling point as well. Because they have the low boiling point, they are usually in the gaseous form. They do not dissolve readily in water. Right, and most of the matter that is surrounding us, it is composed of the molecules and is composed of the molecular compounds. Most of the compounds are the molecular compound that we are surrounded with. Now coming to the covalent bonding within molecules. We all know the molecular compounds are made up of the covalent bonding, right? So what is a covalent bond? Covalent bond is a bond which is formed by sharing of a pair of electron by the two atoms. In the ionic bond, we have the transfer of electron from the metallic atom to the non-metallic atom. Here, in the case of covalent bond, we have the sharing of a pair of electron. Like here, if I have the combination of hydrogen and hydrogen, so here in the combination of hydrogen and hydrogen, we can share the single electron in between the two hydrogens so that its pair will be complete. Now in the chlorine, you can see chlorine is mostly occurring as Cl2, right? So I already told you this as well. Why it is occurring as Cl2? Because chlorine will be having 7 electrons in the valence shell, which is unstable. So over here, the two chlorines can share one of the electrons and both of them can have the full octet. Right, coming to the bonding electron. What is the bonding electron? Bonding electron are the electron in the valence shell of an atom which are available to form the covalent bond, right? So it is different from the bonding capacity. So if I talk about the lithium is having one bonding electron, right? So it is having the bonding capacity also equal to 1. Whereas if I talk about oxygen will be having 6 bonding electron, whereas it has the bonding capacity of 2. If I talk about fluorine will be having 7 bonding electron and the bonding capacity of 1. Chlorine also will be having 7 bonding electron and the bonding capacity of 1. Nitrogen will be having 5 bonding electron and the bonding capacity of 3. Coming to the lone pair. What is a lone pair? It is a pair of electron that is not involved in the covalent bonding. The double covalent bond is the atom which share 2 pair of valence electron. Right, if I form the O2 molecule, in the O2 molecule we have the 2 valence electrons are shared in between the 2 oxygen atoms. So 2 valence electron from this oxygen and 2 from this oxygen are shared. So here we are forming a double bond, right? So this kind of double bond will be existing for the oxygen. In the triple covalent bond, atoms share 3 pair of valence electron. Like if I combine the nitrogen, these 3 electrons and these 3 electrons from 2 nitrogen will be shared and both of them will complete their octet and will be having the triple bond. Molecular compound will also formed with the help of the sharing of electron. Like hydrogen, when combined with the chlorine, the 1 electron of the hydrogen has been shared with this chlorine. So hydrogen share this electron of the chlorine and this electron of the hydrogen has been shared with the chlorine. So it is forming a one single bond. Right? Similarly, oxygen atom can share 1 electron with this hydrogen and 1 electron with this hydrogen to form the single bond. Carbon atom can form 2 bonds with this oxygen and 2 bonds with this oxygen. This double bond is formed between carbon and oxygen, and also over here we have the lone pair of electrons. So how to draw the Lewis structure? We are understanding this with the help of the questions. So question is, draw a Lewis and the structural formula for a molecule of methanol, CH2O. For that we have to form the Lewis structure and the structural formula. So first, coming to the step 1. Step 1 is the atom with the largest bonding capacity is placed at the center and spread the surrounding atoms as far as possible. If I talk about carbon is having the highest bonding capacity, which is 4, so it is placed at the center. Hydrogen has the bonding capacity of 1 and oxygen has the bonding capacity of 2. So carbon is placed at the center having the bonding capacity of 4. Step 2 is to count the valence electron for all atoms, right? So if I talk about the total electrons, so total electrons is used in the Lewis structure. So here we have carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So let's count the total number of valence electron. Carbon will be having 4 valence electron, oxygen will be having 6 valence electron, 2 hydrogen will be having 2 into 1 electron, that is 2 electrons. Total we will be having 12 valence electrons. right? Coming to the step 3. Step 3 is placing 2 electrons between center and surrounding atom. So wherever we have the center atom and the surrounding atom, we have to place 2 electrons in between. So in between carbon and oxygen we are putting 2 electrons, in between carbon and hydrogens we are putting 2 electrons. Now coming to the step 4, place lone pair of electrons to satisfy the octet rule. So here if I talk about the lone pair of electron, you can see oxygen will be having 6 electrons, so it can be represented as 3 lone pair of electrons, right? So here the carbon is represented over here and the oxygen will be having 3 lone pair of electrons. Step 5 is to determine the available electron. So here if I calculate all of the electrons over here, 2 plus 2 plus 2, it is 6 plus the 6 lone electrons. So 6 plus 6 is 12. So we have used all of the 12 electrons. So there are no available electron now. What is the step 6? Step 6 is to place remaining electron on the central atom in pair. So we are not having any remaining electron, so we are going to skip this step, right? So step 7 is central atom. If it is not having the full octet, so lone pair will be converted to the bonding position. So now let's see how many electrons we have for the carbon. 2 plus 2 plus 2. So only 6 electrons are present for the carbon. So what we are going to do, we are going to convert this lone pair of electron to the bonding pair of electron. So here what we have done, we have made this lone pair of electron over here. So carbon and oxygen are now sharing 4 electrons instead of 2. So here we have made a double bond, right? So now coming to the next step, which is step 7, all octets should be complete. So you can see now here if I talk about all of the octets are now complete. And coming to the step 8. Step 8 represents the shared pair of electrons as dashes. So the shared pair of electron, carbon and oxygen have 4 shared electrons, so which is represented by 2 dashes, carbon and hydrogen with 1 dash. Right, oxygen will be having 2 lone pair of electrons, which are represented as it is no dashes for the lone pair of electrons. Now coming to the structural formula. In the structural formula we are going to remove the dots. We are not going to put the lone pair of electrons, and we are going to represent the structure like this. Coming to the next question. So again we have to draw Lewis and the structural formula for the polyatomic chlorate ions. So ClO3 negative. Now first of all we have to see the step 1. So chlorine is placed at the center and oxygen atoms are surrounding it, right? Now here second step is to count the valence electrons. So chlorine will be having 7 electrons. Now here we have 3 oxygen, which will be having 3 into 6 electron. 1 oxygen is having 6 electrons as a valence electron. So 3 oxygen will be having 18 electrons. So here we have the negative charge as well. So negative charge is represented by 1 electrons. So the total number of electrons we have is 26 electrons. Now what we have to do, we have to put the 2 electrons between the central and the surrounding atom. So 2 electrons are placed between chlorine and oxygen each, right? Now coming to the 4th step. In the 4th step, place lone pair of electrons. So here on the oxygen we have placed 6 electrons, right? So as to complete the lone pair of electrons. So now coming to the available electrons. So now we are going to find out if any electrons is available or not. So calculate over here the total number of electrons. Here we have 8 plus 8 plus 8. 24 electrons already are consumed, so we are left with 2 electrons. 26 electrons were available, 24 electrons we have used in this structure, so 2 electrons are available. Now we are going to put this available electrons on the central atom. Central atom is chlorine, so we are going to put the 2 electrons as 2 dot on the chlorine, right? Coming to the step 7. Now here we have to check all octets are complete. Yes, we have all of the octets are complete for chlorine, and for each of the oxygen the octets are complete. So here we will not be having any double or the triple bond, right? So now coming to the step 9. In the step 9 you can see we are making the connection in between the central and surrounding atom by removing the shared pair of electron. We are putting a dash. So in between oxygen and chlorine we had the shared pair of electron. We have put the dash over here, right, in all of the chlorine and oxygen. So here we have put the negative charge as well. So for the structural formula we are removing all of the dots from this structure and we will be having structural formula like this. I hope you understood all of the things that I have discussed. In the next class we again will meet and we will discuss the chapter 2. Thank you so much.